CD 531, Assignment 2, The Medicine Wheel and Leadership. Bismarck, Elizabeth, Chris, Nadine, and Callie. Transformations and Indigenous Leadership, using the medicine wheel as a tool for understanding. Spiritual, Bismarck.
My name is Bismarck Busala Lambrangang, and I come from Bimobaland in the northeastern part of present-day Ghana and ancient-day Togo in West Africa. My pronouns are he, him, and I currently live in Victoria, where I am doing this recording. I'm presenting to you on spirituality. According to Elizabeth Scott, spirituality is the broad concept of a belief in something beyond the personal self. It strives to answer questions about the meaning of life and how people are connected to each other in truths about the universe and other mysteries of human existence. The spiritual wheel of the spiritual part of the medicine wheel is represented by the yellow color and is located on the eastern part of the wheel. The spiritual being can be reflected as a connection of other spirits on Mother Earth as well as in the spirit world. In the indigenous culture, the spirit being is often referred to as the connection with the Creator. Spiritual energy is how we trickle down to the other states of being with the other states of the being by helping them to remain in balance with the steady flow of energy from the spirit world. The spiritual being may be connected to the Creator or whoever that you pray to. That could be your Creator, it could be Mother Earth, it could be the universe, and it could be nature, as well as other spirits. It all depends on who you decide to pray to as an individual. It is important to maintain a healthy lifestyle by taking care of the spirit. And in doing this, you would need to physically feed the body. That would ensure that the spirit is well taken care of. And so personally, at a point, the practice of religion taught me to rely solely on fruits and vegetables for a long time at the expense of foods that are rich or made mainly carbohydrates and meat and other sources. And so that has given me a very good looking body and a nice spirit today. And so it is important to feed the physical body very well to give the spirit to give the spirit a good look as well. A peaceful coexistence with all manner of people in the community is also important and helps the spirit being. However, not everyone experiences or expresses spirituality in the same way. Some people may seek spiritual experiences in every aspect of their lives, while others may be more likely to have these feelings under specific conditions or in certain locations. For example, I remember when I was young, I used to be extremely reserved and quiet. It made the people around me, from home to school, church, and even in the community, so uncomfortable that some would go to the extent of complaining to my parents and other close relatives or associates. It got to a point that people started complaining to me personally. And that gave me the impression that I needed to do something about my human relationship and the way I lived my life. Now, at a point in the university days, I remember some people objected to suggestions by some section of students for me to be a student leader, largely due to my lifestyle. I got all the feedback, thought about it carefully, and then decided to change some aspects of my life to not only suit the people and their situations, but to also help myself. Because I came to realize that listening to people and reflecting on their feedback, that's making some changes and adjustments in my life, made me a better person. Now, relating this to leadership, Elizabeth Scott once again says that a good leader is someone who listens to audience. And so my new life has inculcated in me one of the most important attributes of a good leader. And that makes me to rise up to every leadership situation at all times, which seemed to confirm to the assertion by Elizabeth Scott. Spiritually, my wellness is all about maintaining a sense of openness to other energies of the universe, which in turn helps to develop my intuition and my sense of spiritual connection. There are things that I do to keep improving my spiritual being, and these range from practicing, from meditation, smogging, prayer, practicing openness, and sometimes trying to be curious. These are things that helps me, and this together with my human relationship and ability or readiness to listen or to give audience to people has helped me and transformed me into a leader in my community or in the community that I find myself. Thank you.
Physical, Chris.
My name is Chris Kinch. I'm recording my portion of the medicine wheel from the traditional and unceded territory of the Taketh people of the Lheidli First Nation. My family history is predominantly from Irish descent, as well as Scottish, English, and French heritage. The background behind me in this presentation is a photograph of Prince George at the Nechako River in the foreground from the cut banks, which are up above Prince George, following a big snowfall and a morning snowshoe, which is one of the ways in which the physical aspect of the medicine wheel interconnects with my personal connection to physical activity and the physical world around me. The physical aspect of the medicine wheel brings our focus to the physical world in a holistic sense, including ourselves as part of the physical world. When thinking of the physical world, balance and health includes personal physical health. In this way, the physical aspect is interconnected and balanced with other areas of the medicine wheel to foster redundancy, strengthen resilience, and reinforce sustainability. Viewing this aspect through the lens of leadership, we recognize the reciprocal relationship between ourselves as part of and within the physical world. With this in mind, I reflected on my personal journey and relationship with the physical aspect of the medicine wheel and leadership. Over the past 10 years, I've constantly worked to maintain some form of regular routine in my physical health as a way to manage stress, anxiousness, and problem solving in relation to and strengthening my work as a leader. And about 5 years ago, I adopted a commitment to how I approach life from this framework. Those in my life deserve the best of me. And embedded in that commitment is the need to take care of myself, my physical health, so that I can show up in the ways I intend to and the best way I can for those in my life. Physical health for me is interconnected with my mental health and the ability to show up intentionally in various areas I have responsibilities of my family, my work, and my community. I intend to show up with my best. Therefore, I need to take care of myself in a way that supports that intention, though I'm not always successful. Within the construct of the medicine wheel, the interconnectedness that I currently see in the approach has, by comparison, so many more layers. The scope goes beyond those in my life, but that of my community, and the world I interact with every day deserves the best contributions I can offer. This includes caring for my physical health, to integrate, support, nurture the physical world around me, and ensuring I am in touch with and responsive to the physical world that surrounds me. But why is this important? My experience with leadership has predominantly been through a Western framework of studies of leadership, which are overrepresented in data collection from Caucasian males and the experience working in leadership, which are also reflective of my background and experience, essentially a reinforcing loop. In this space, physical health and well-being has often been thought of as an afterthought, only really emerging more recently in an interconnected way with mental health and stress management, as I had previously been using physical activity as well. Previously viewed through the medical lens of being healthy enough to lead, in other words, not sick or not ill. The teachings of the medicine wheel ask us to adopt a different viewpoint, being a part of rather than apart from, and beyond the physical aspects of oneself to the integration and reciprocal relationship within the physical world. In a broad pan-Indigenous summary, traditional physical wellness would be integrated into traditional daily activities and aligned with the seasonal attributes of the physical world and needs of the community. Today requires a more intentional approach to integration to seek an understanding not only of our own personal physical wellness to lead, but to deeply understand our place and the place of all other things within the physical world to guide our leadership.
Nadine.
Hi everyone, as you know, I'm Nadine. My name actually means hope, which is kind of funny as I consider myself more of a realistic person, but maybe it is a useful reminder to remember to stop and think about what's possible. I'm speaking from the shared territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples where I live and work. I also wanted to acknowledge where I grew up, which you can see behind me. My hometown Golden is on the land that is the traditional territory of the Ktunaxa peoples. My cultural background is I'm half Spanish and I'm Scottish and Irish on my dad's side. For my part of this lovely video, I will focus on the southern part of the medicine wheel, which is the mental quadrant and is also represented by the color yellow. As learners utilize the medicine wheel, explore mental wellness, and continue to proceed through the emotional, physical, and spiritual quadrants, this process helps prepare one to look inward and to work with others in a positive way. While I don't have a lot of experience in a leadership role, I have thought a lot about how I would approach leadership, and I find understanding leadership development in the context of a medicine wheel helpful as it enables a strong foundation for a positive and holistic approach to leadership. In terms of the mental aspect of the medicine wheel, this part represents a balanced approach to mental health and wellness through the interconnections between each part of the wheel. Essentially, mental wellness is a balance of the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. This balance is enriched as people have purpose in their daily life, have hope for the future, and feel belonging and connectedness within one's family, community, and culture, as well as feeling a sense of meaning. As I explore the mental aspect of the medicine wheel, balance between the quadrants and engaging in a more balanced approach kept on coming up for me. Balance has been a concept that I've struggled with. I have often thought of balance as something that you need to have financial privilege to be able to afford. I saw my choices being between my career and balance. My own life has often lacked balance so that I could pay my expenses, make student loan payments, gain further education, and experience through volunteering, and this wears on you. Financial instability is like this weight on you that makes you exhausted physically and mentally to the point where it becomes difficult to plan for the future. I think, like many, I want to work in a job that I'm passionate about while being financially stable. My goal here is to complicate how we think about balance in order to emphasize a more nuanced discussion. Recently, and especially during this project, I have been thinking about expanding how I think about balance, how it connects to mental wellness, and my thoughts on leadership. I still have an unsustainable schedule, but what I'm starting to think about is what balance can mean for me without feeling like I'm giving up something important to me. I think when you look back on your life, you don't exactly think, I wish I sent more work emails. The medicine wheel is also helpful in that it does not individualize mental health. It is deeply relational and considers the mental aspect in the context of family, community, and culture as well. This is a crucial aspect of leadership development that understands leadership as relational, changing, and multi-directional. I think back about the leadership theories we read in Dugan and how they centered the leader and focused more on how leaders engage with their followers. I compare this with reading Living Indigenous Leadership, where throughout the chapters it highlights how deeply relational and contextual leadership is, where cooperation and collaboration is emphasized. Yvonne G. McLeod in the Learning to Lead Cocumcell chapter describes leadership as challenging the process, inspiring a shared vision, and enabling others to act, serving as role models and encouraging the heart. This is an approach to leadership that I can connect with. As I seek balance and wellness in each aspect of my life, this journey is also informed by the idea of seeking difference as a way to enrich myself and inform my own transformational process in the context of the communities I am a part of. I really love the words of Jeanette Armstrong, an Okanagan Indigenous woman. She highlights that where are we operating from if we do not start with a view that your difference informs and enriches me, gifts and honors me? Now I prioritize mental health in a more purposeful way where the medicine wheel acts as a framework as I proceed from mental to emotional to physical to spiritual aspects of my life while seeking difference as a way to enrich myself as a learner and as a leader.
Emotional Elizabeth.
My name is Elizabeth Lalonde, and I greet you from the traditional territory and unceded land of the Lekwungen-speaking people, otherwise known as Victoria, British Columbia. I am in my second year of the MACD, Masters in Community Development program at the University of Victoria, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a white cisgender female. I am a blind woman and a leader in the blindness and disability communities. I'm honored to be a part of this presentation about the medicine wheel and Indigenous leadership. I'm speaking today about the emotional quadrant of the medicine wheel, which is located on the western side of the wheel, and its color is black. I have always felt my emotions very strongly, and I tend to express them outwardly. And I often experience repercussions, negative ones for this. In my white Western culture, my emotional nature has tended to be detrimental to my leadership roles. On at least 2 different occasions at board meetings, for example, I was triggered, and this resulted in me bursting into tears. I experienced a negative reaction from the others at the meeting. None of these reactions were comforting. They ranged from noticeable discomfort to an abrupt change of subject to trying to stop my flow of tears and even commanding me to leave the room. These experiences scarred me, and now I try hard to hold back my tears at professional events. Because such emotional outbursts, as they are called, are not accepted in my Western ways, I only wish that it was different. I wish my colleagues had understood and practiced the Cree concept, for example, of Wakatwin, which means the interconnected nature of relationships, communities, and natural systems. Aaron Holloman, a Western educator who has worked with the Cree Nation on reconciliation, says that Wakatwin calls the people to remember teachings of reciprocity, to treat each other the way we would like to be treated, remembering the actions we take towards others and the environment reverberate back to us in generations to come. Wakatwin calls us to support each other in emotional, intelligent ways and reminds us that we are only as strong as the support we offer to each other when needed. Another piece that resonated with me It's called What Indigenous Cultures Teach About Emotional Intelligence. It's written by an individual by the name of Wild, W-Y-L-D, who is also a Westerner like myself. Wild talks about how in Western thought, emotions are something generally to be shut down. She said she never learned to deal with her emotions because she wasn't allowed to feel them. And it wasn't until she became a mother that she realized she would need to make changes. Her words speak to me because I am also a mother. Wild says we often hear that we as parents are the mirrors for our children. They are able to see and understand themselves in our actions and reactions, our connection or disconnection, in our love or in our fear. Wild says she has been trying to heal and to empower her children to work with their emotions. She says the only way she believes to teach emotional regulation is by doing it yourself. It is something children must witness and experience. And this is very similar to what Dawn Smith said in her presentation about Indigenous community development and leadership. Dawn says, we must show our children the way through example. We can teach our children how to be good leaders by being good leaders ourselves. Dawn believes that one of the most important things is to have self-love and self-compassion. Once we achieve self-love, our children can then learn to love themselves. Dawn reminded us that we also must listen to our ancestors, who in her culture are embodied in the sun, the moon, the sky, and the stars. Wild talks about fire, the element of anger. Westerners tend to see fire as a destructive force to be prevented and put out quickly. But Wild says the Indigenous people of America, particularly those in California, had a different relationship with fire. They said by burning away the debris, Native people rejuvenated nature. Colonizers, of course, did not understand this type of burning. They viewed it as wild and dangerous. Indigenous people believe that fearing and avoiding fire leads to wild, destructive, and explosive fire, and that suppressing fire can turn it into toxic energy. Just like fearing and avoiding emotions can lead to destructive feelings and toxic energy. Allowing the circle of emotions to flow freely and naturally reminds me of the circle of the medicine wheel. This blending of all things is eloquently stated in the following paragraph from Living Indigenous Leadership, edited by Kenny. Quote, locating ourselves in the moment calls forth our past and our future in elegant and expansive perspectives that remind us of the interconnection of all things and an inclusive holism that permeates our worlds.
Conclusion, Kelly.
This group has demonstrated the usefulness of the medicine wheel in gaining a deeper understanding of Indigenous leadership and transformation. We practice two-eyed seeing methods by utilizing Indigenous methods to study Indigenous theories and apply them to ourselves. This project combines our collective experiences and insights, giving a wide perspective and understanding. This relational, holistic approach is Indigenous-based and can be applied in many ways in personal and community development. Thank you so much.